Now we're still on this beautiful location here, and the scene is starting to change rapidly. We're getting into blue hour. Now I didn't want to get up to this rooftop earlier in the day because it's not lit up. When we get into the blue hour, all of their churches, all the really important buildings get lit up in such a beautiful way. We have this little window where the luminosity matches perfectly. So let's see what we can work with here. I'm gonna open up my camera here, and this is my 1X view. So this is already working quite well. We have such beauty right in front of me, but how can we make the most of it? As that light's gonna get darker and darker, it's gonna get bluer and bluer. And that's important to me because the lights that are used to artificially light this church are very, very warm. They're incandescent lights. And we really want them to stand out. And the way they're gonna stand out is in direct contrast to that blue sky. Now with this 1X, this works quite well here, but I love these lights that are in these windows here as well. The problem is if I want to include all these lights, as you're seeing, I'm losing the top of these buildings here. I'm compromising in a way that I don't want to. So here's what I want to do. I want to get the slightly wider angle than I have now. So I'm going to tap on my 0.5, and now I have a much larger field of view. I can see this entire church, but here's the problem. I can also see this roof. This is what happens all the time. Photographers don't design cities, unfortunately. If they did, this roof would either not be there or be painted a very, very different color. So I see all these plants right in front of me here. What if I use these plants as a foreground element to hide that rooftop? It almost lines up perfectly with these buildings here and gives me a little bit of a foreground element here that adds just a little bit more three-dimensionality to my scene. Anytime you get a chance to include another element in the foreground, you have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, the more layers you add, the more depth and dimension you're gonna have in your final photo. So having said that, I'm gonna grab this image here and make sure that I'm not blocking the windows, at least that top window here, and just right about there. So while I wait for this scene to develop, let's see what else I can get. Okay, so now that we have this light exactly how we want it, let's rotate back to this scene here. The first thing I'm gonna do is capture the entire scene, and here's why. As I mentioned before, the 1X is the best lens I can use in a dark environment. So if I'm going to use that super wide lens, I wanna do it while I still have more light in the sky. So here, I'm gonna switch back over to my 0.5, and I'm gonna try and frame up just like that. I think that works so well for this shot. We're in the perfect light right now. We're losing it really quickly though, so we can really just get a few more shots here before the sky gets too dark and basically just turns to black. So this is where the iPhone really kicks in and works to our advantage, is that it works so perfectly in low light scenarios, especially the newer phones that have the night mode feature. While we still have this beautiful light, I'm gonna keep on working the scene here. And look at this shot right here. This is just so cool. I want to make sure that the bottom left-hand corner kind of goes right to the edge here. I don't want to cut off any part of this church. And I'm going to grab this photo here. Now you're going to notice if I switch to 0.5, it's starting to get just a little bit dark for this scene, but I am going to take the shot because I still think it's so, so beautiful. Now, one thing I can do is swipe from the right-hand side where it says photo. Now this white icon on the right-hand side, I'm gonna draw your attention to it. We're gonna click on that, and typically it's gonna say auto. What I wanna do is drag this over until this says max. Then I'm gonna click this photo. It's gonna take a second or two, and what it's doing is taking a multitude of images, it's stitching them to get rid of all the noise, giving me the cleanest image possible. Okay, so with this in play, I've already taken this image. I'm gonna switch back over to my 1X and see if I can just get a little bit cleaner of a composition with just these windows here and this beautiful dome. Just like that. As I'm firing these frames, I'm actually holding my breath because I'm trying to keep the phone as still as possible to let the iPhone do its job. So with that said, I'm gonna switch back over to vertical, and I love the way these windows sort of stack up and create a little bit of like a C or a little bit of a curve that leads directly into the dome, which is clearly the focus of my subject here. Right about there, hold my breath. That's the shot right there. Now, while I have just one more image I can take, switch back over my 2.5, and now I have the beauty of this scene. This really is, I think, my favorite shot of all of them, because it's just a clean, simple, elegant composition and really puts a primary focus on exactly what's happening with the artificial light of this dome. Such careful attention was taken by the architect and the engineer to light this up in such a beautiful way, and having a blue hour like we have here just works to really accent the beautiful light. And filling the frame with the most interesting part of the scene is always a good choice when you have the opportunity. So shooting this in the last moment of light at 2.5 is gonna give me such a beautiful image for such a beautiful location, and honestly, for such a beautiful day. What a great way and what a great location to end a day like today. Leaving all that chaos, all that noise, all those people to get a shot that is just my own and be just by myself while I do it. That's just precious. That's Mexico. This video was a free preview of my Capture It All online course. In this course, you'll discover how to use your iPhone to literally capture everything that's happening around you. We'll talk about composition, storytelling, timing, photographing people, recording videos, time lapses, flying a drone, and so much more. If you'd like to use your iPhone to its fullest potential, please take a look at the full version of Capture It All. You'll find the link in the description right next to this video. So click on that link right now and I'll see you inside the full version of the course.